President Macron, thank you so much for being here today. I am a student here at GW, double majoring in economics and international affairs. And my question to you today is in regards to the reform of the SNCF. You have proved your capacity to effect change in France because of your ability to hold yourself to your campaign promise. However, the strikes from the SNCF are proving to be difficult to overcome. Considering the hindering effects that the 1995 strikes of SNCF had on the presidency of Jacques Chirac and the 1968 strikes before these, how do you plan to succeed in your goal of reforming the SNCF and winning over the trust of these labor unions? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question on SNCF. I addressed a little bit this issue regarding strikes, and you're very sharp. And you know very well the French situation. Look, if your question do you think we will overcome, just to pay my tribute to your Congressman Lewis, I was with him a few minutes ago, we shall overcome, for sure. There is no doubt, because we have to do so. I think the situation is very different from the situation you mentioned 22 years ago. 22 years ago, probably the French society was not ready to move. Today it's very different. Majority of people is ready to move forward. And it's part of it's part of my election itself. So we should not consider that because a reform failed 22 years ago, it's impossible to deliver a new one now. What I want to do, what the government wants to do for the SNCF, is precisely to modernize it and to have a much more fair system, because when you look at the situation with different sectors, it's unfair. To have a much more efficient system, because that's a precondition to reinvest in this system and to make it as a role model for the whole Europe. So I think the rationale of this reform is very strong. The situation is much more mature than 20 years ago. We presented the reform, we negotiated, and we will deliver at the Parliament. So we will overcome, for sure. Don't have any doubt about it. Because I think it's good for the country, because if I stop reforming the country on this issue, how do you want me to reform, to fix all these other issues? How do you want me to fix this very important issue your colleague raised on security, on integration, and so on? That's impossible. If you want to do so, you have to be strong in this kind of situation. You have to be clear, you have to respect people. But for me, the strongest rationale is the fact that this reform is good for people working at the SNCF itself.